Shio, Oshikwaju, Dagwa do Ankwadali. Welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. My name is Patara, and it is such an honor to have you here. I'm going to tell you an important story today, and I hope that you learn a little something from it. It's an interesting story in terms of it being Cherokee legend or lore. I just got off the phone with my, I call her she's one of my mothers, Miss Lou. As you know, I'm very close to her, have been for many, many years. She is a EBCI legend in itself. She is a teacher. She is a speaker of the language. I am a learner, and I'm very close to her, and I often go to her with things that we talk about, but I get her wisdom out of it. And today, I just got off the phone talking to her about Utlunta. If you have ever heard of the legend of Spearfinger, I think that it is falling perfectly in line with exactly what we were talking about yesterday and to what I'm going to be talking about today. If you were from very East Tennessee, basically Blount County, and falling into Western North Carolina, you have heard this story before, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So there is a very, very popular legend of the legend of Spearfinger. And if you travel through Blount County, maybe you're going over the Dragon, maybe you go and visit go to Sitico, etc., etc. That was believed to be some of the stomping grounds, if you will, for Spearfinger. Who was Spearfinger? Well, to take you back, there was a situation where the Cherokee found out that individuals were being killed. Children were being killed. And they didn't understand what was going on. Something evil was happening. And what was happening is they would find the victims with their livers removed, poked in, taken out. Who or what would, such an evil thing, who would ever do such a thing? It didn't make sense. So they decided that they were going to have to try to catch whatever this is that was doing this to their people. So one day you had a town village, if you will, and they basically had dug out pits. Some people say it was one pit. Some say it was a pit that went around the whole town because they wanted to catch, if they could lure it out, they wanted to catch whatever was doing this to their people. Well, it was in the fall because it is, as part of the story, Spearfinger really came out and was really active in the fall when the leaves were changing and falling, and the Cherokee were gathering chestnuts, chestnut bread, right? So this little old lady came out. They were burning leaves, they were gathering chestnuts, and they noticed out of the woods or something that this meek little old lady, so cute and sweet and tiny, just came out of the woods, honey. Unassuming, right? You'd never think anything, would you? Not of a sweet little old lady. No, no, no. Well, she fell into the pit. And when she did, she transformed. She became basically a monster, if you will. She was a shape shifter. And she had on her right hand, her finger, which, as the legend has it, was obsidian. It was this long spear. So they realized what they were dealing with. And when she shape-shifted, her skin transformed also. Her skin was almost like a rock material, a cement material, because they began to try to throw rocks at her. They began to try to shoot bow and arrow, arrows at her with the bow and arrow, shooting her to kill her. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it because it would just bounce right off of her. She was a shapeshifter. Well, the story has it that a bird came down and landed on her shoulder, and that's when they realized they had better start trying to shoot her. So they shot her in this area, and they couldn't do it. Then a second little birdie came down and landed right on her hand, and they realized when they really paid attention, the heart of Spearfinger was actually in this hand, and it was pumping, it was pulsing. So they realized that they had to get their best individual to shoot an arrow with perfect precision and hit right in that spot. And they did. And they killed her. Spearfinger no more. But here's the moral of the story. She was an unassuming little woman. So sweet. Children loved her. They would come to her. They trusted her. Just like you would with any other grandma or great-grandmother, right? You want to believe in individuals. You want to trust individuals. They seem to be harmless, maybe like-minded. And yet, when somebody wasn't looking, they gouged you. She gouged them. And she took out their liver and she ate it right in front of them. Right there. That is exactly what I'm talking about when you are thinking about joining groups or meeting people. You have no idea, zero, of exactly who you are dealing with anymore. It could be a shapeshifter. It could be somebody playing the part just to get you, just to manipulate you, just to get you where they want you, making you vulnerable, to find out more about you and all of these things. So yesterday when I was talking about in my video where I was talking about the prepper groups, if you actually listened to what I said without jumping to conclusions, I very specifically said, number one, always do what works best for you. One of the next points that I made was that I personally feel that we're in a time and age where you are long past just joining groups. I think your circle should have already been made, because loyalty and trust and ensuring that that's there takes years to ensure that it's legit. So just because you talk with someone and they seem to be like-minded, just because they seem to share some skill sets with you, just because they seem to have good intentions and they agree with you politically, is that really the person that you're dealing with? And is that who you want to trust and be around? Is this who you want your children to be around? So that was the point of the video. It's none of my business what people do on their own personal time. I simply express what I think and feel and what I fear and what I want to stress to people here on my channel. And so therefore, that was the point of what I was talking about yesterday. I wasn't pinpointing any specific person or group. I was simply saying that I'm seeing these things now, and I wanted to urge my family, friends, and followers, which is all in the same little basket, to be very, very careful and to use discernment. Discernment is a gift, and it should not ever be taken for granted. You have no way of knowing in this day and age, literally, who exactly has good intentions for you and who does not. So that's why I stress your circle should be small. It should be people close to you in your community, not running out 50 miles to go to meetings or 30 miles to meet somebody online. No, what's going to matter is exactly where you are and who is exactly around you or who you plan to be on your property or with you in a crisis situation. Not somebody somewhere else who may have just been gathering information on you. It's a dangerous situation if you think about it. And that was the point that I was trying to make. And that is the point that I'm making to you also with the story of Untlunta. Unassuming, meek, small, elderly, sweet, could be your ultimate downfall. That was the point of the video yesterday. That is the point that I'm going to continue to make, because I want you to be safe. I want you to be smart. I want you to be preparing. And I don't want there to be any situation brought forth on you that could bring all of that down. That could be harmful to you, your family, your children, your homestead, your home. We have to think. We have to be wise. So I hope you enjoyed the story of Spearfinger today. There's different variations, but that is the main gist of it. You could say that she was a demon. That's fair. You're in the biggest spiritual warfare right now ever known to man. Why would you think something like that in some way wouldn't apply to you today as well? Lots to think about. Like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you all the time. Be praying, be preparing, be peaceful. Use the brains that God and Granny gave you, and think about all of the potentials before you ever jump into the deep end. I want you safe. Guys, Godspeed, God bless. And guys, I'll see you in the next video.